Get ready to witness a movie celebrating toxic masculinity, which is an official remake of the 2017 South Indian hit Arjun Reddy by the director Sandeep Reddy, who said this in an interview.
When you are deeply in love, when you are deeply connected with a woman, if you don't have the liberty of slapping each other, then I don't see anything there.
By the way, do you know Sandeep Reddy has a son and his name is, you guessed it, Arjun Reddy? Coincidence much? I don't think so. A guy who was never taken seriously for his initial romantic outings, or even when he went dark, or that one time when he played a toxic genius, or that drug addict, or even worse, a borderline sociopath. Watch as Shahid Kapoor plays Kabir Singh now, a borderline sociopathic genius who romances, rags, drinks, snorts, swears, molests, and harasses his way to finally some box office glory. Because patriarchy. Fuck yeah. Meet his love interest Preeti, a 19-year-old college freshman who has an acute disability of speaking. And when she finally does, this is what we hear. It all starts when Kabir first lays eyes on her in campus, plucks her from her classroom for an awkward interrogation, goes on to warn everyone else not to try on her, eventually meets her father to become her on-campus guardian, and even kisses her without any consent. And that's just the first day they met. Together, they will redefine the romance genre for decades to follow by making out on a moving bike, getting crashed while making out on a moving bike, engaging in domestic violence, some more domestic violence, and some more of it. Nope. Not toxic at all. Moving on, Chekhov's theory explains that if you show a gun in the first act, you have to fire it later on. By Bollywood standards, if you show a concerned grandmother in the first act, you have to kill her by the end of the movie to work as a reason for the protagonist to come back to his home, which he was kicked out of by his strict dad to set up the climax. Good thing Kabir Singh didn't rely on these types of cliches. At least melodrama से दूर रहे ना. Okay, fuck you. A movie which, believe it or not, was very close to being done by Arjun Kapoor. Let that sink in for a minute. Was criticized for taking it too light on its protagonist and having a happy ending, which actually says a lot about us as a society. I mean, the guy was kicked out of his house on the day his girlfriend got married elsewhere. Lost his job for which he struggled all his life, almost lost his life to alcohol, and never got to see his grandma in her last few months.
Yeah, but it all ends happily, and we didn't see him suffer enough.
यार compassion नाम की चीज होती है या नहीं? But it's still not enough to justify the stupendous success of what at heart is just another mediocre Bollywood love story. And since you guys like Kangana a lot these days, here's her saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So much.
It could have made 100 crores less. It would have made us feel so happy.
कितना खुश हुआ करते थे ये पहले. So strap along for a movie that literally broke so many records, it's hard to keep count. Records like obliterating Uri to become the biggest blockbuster of 2019, breaking into the 10 biggest box office hits ever, becoming Google India's most searched film of the year, and breaking the record for the number of times Papa is said in a single scene.
Papa, 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 hala hai Papa, Papa, oh Papa, ye Papa, 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 hai Papa.
Papa, there's this girl. Really love her, Papa. I'm sorry, Papa. Just 2 minutes, Papa. Listen to me. Papa, bahar aaye.
Please, Papa.
Papa just got married, Papa.
Kabir,
Shut up, Papa. Hush now, Papa. Right now, Papa. Papa, answer the question now. Exactly, that's it. Just explain it to him.
I know, right? थोड़ा और पापा पापा बोल शायद समझ जाएं.
अच्छा अब तू भी शुरू हो जा.
Starring Shahid Kapoor, a guy who has literally taken up the responsibility of doing the most controversial films of their respective years. भाई तुमसे कोई light-hearted, easy on the eyes movies नहीं होती?
जी जरूर. फैक्ट्स तो सब मेरे पास है और आपके होते फिगर की बात मैं कैसे करूं?
अरे भाई तू लाइनें ही खींच. हाँ, much better. एंड कियारा अडवानी, जिसकी पूरी फिल्म में कैरेक्टराइजेशन देख के डेफिनेटली पता चलता है कि उसने अपने हस्बैंड को बिल्कुल भी नहीं छूने दिया होगा.
Kabir, I didn't let him touch me. This is your baby, Kabir. This is your baby.
ऐसे ही अगर लौंडे मानना शुरू हो गए तो क्या ही बात हो जाए. नहीं लो कट गया. और मांग अपनी हर मूवी में ड्रग्स. मुझे ड्रग दो ड्रग दो ड्रग दो ड्रग दो मुझे ड्रग दो ड्रग दो ड्रग दो.
मेरी बंदी है.
People need to understand that he said this in the start of the movie. There's an entire arc Kabir goes through after saying this to redeem himself towards the end.
आएगी और मेरी बंदी है वे.
अबे भड़वे सुधर जा.